Salutations, friends! Welcome to what I believe is going to be the last video about Dredge this week, and maybe for a while, because I might need to detox after playing Dredge so much lately. And I'm going to play basically the same list that I did yesterday. I tinkered the mana base just a little bit. I added a 61st card, which is just going to be another copy of Lotlet Giant. And I swapped the Coffin Purges in the sideboard in place of the Rotted Reunions from what I mentioned yesterday. And I added a 4th Molten Gatekeeper to the sideboard for those very grindy matchups because I wanted to try it out. So let's see how it does. And I hope this is a good, interesting last test, especially because I'm running out of time for my event and I still don't have a finalized deck list of what I want to be playing. But I guess it is what it is. It's fine. And leave a subscribe, please. Comment, tell me what you think about the deck. If you're enjoying these more focused dive into a specific deck over the course of a week. And that's it for me today. Let's battle. All right, welcome to round number 1. We are on the draw against Corzalan. This is actually a hand that I am going to keep. I don't think it's amazing or anything, but having all the colors and a turn 2 Malevolent Rumble is pretty good. Seagate is not pretty good. If this is indeed Cawgates, it's one of our worst matchups. And it does look to be Cawgates. Yep. And we are not packing the Masked Vandals in the sideboard, which makes it so it's much harder for us to interact against their Modern Age and Journey to Nowheres. There are a couple Dread returns in our graveyard already, but we really wanted to hit a land drop from the Town Greeter. So maybe we didn't have to play the Rumble next turn. We could start with the Gatekeeper already. Opponent discarded already a Sacred Cat and a Citadel Gate. That's important to know. Okay, Outlaw Medic is pretty bad too, and they bring back the Sacred Cat. Okay, that's not bad. So I am just going to straight up play the Molten Gatekeeper here. But if our opponent has a Basilisk Gate to start pumping these creatures, it's going to get out of control very quickly for us. Not having removal and not having any form of land hate is a problem. There's another gate and a hawk. Okay. So as of right now, our opponent does not have good attacks, but starting next turn, they will. And they grab all 3 hawks. Interesting. The Leyline Weaver is definitely interesting here. I feel like I want to play that as soon as I can. There is another land there, but I think we are better off just getting a Chrysalis and cycling for a basic. But again, we are running out of time here. As soon as they find a Basilisk Gate or they start going Thraben Charm very aggressively, things are not going to be great for us. Leyline Weaver also, of course, blocks the Hawks, which is great. I'm not super worried about getting hit in the air with a possible Basilisk Gate, but I am worried about just losing to a 6-power lifelinker attacking every turn. They discarded Dispel, makes sense. Heap Gate, that's not a Basilisk Gate. Okay. So now we have to be a little worried about something like Counterspell, but I am going to Dredge regardless here. So let's Chrysalis, always yield to the Leyline Weaver trigger too, and it is a Counterspell. That's not the end of the world. So I am actually going to make some mana, bring back a Scrapwork Mutt, discard a Lotlet Giant, Dredge the Stinkweed Imp. I don't currently have another red. Oh, but it doesn't even matter, I guess. I'm trying to figure out if we get to kill our opponent here. 15. So I think we are very close. So I'm going to bring back Wayfinder, sacrifice these 3. Opponent takes another point of damage. We get a few more creatures, and we get another land drop. All very important things. I'm gonna make another land drop, and I believe this is lethal. So 3, Stinkweed Imp. Opponent takes 1 more point of damage. And then I am going to sacrifice like this. And this should be lethal. Wow, that was very impressive. We saw how extremely strong the ley line weaver was there. It generated 3 mana for us that turn. It even allowed us, if needed, to cycle the Generous Ant for an extra point of damage again. That was amazing. Of course, we got lucky to get game number 1. Now we have to do it again, which is not super easy. However, this deck has some things going for it that traditional Dredge does not. So the Gatekeeper is good. Red Blasts are obviously good. Now we have to start thinking about some other stuff, right? So Last Rites is an option, but it's unexciting. Coffin Purge and Fairy Macabre are all options. Even Fang Dragon, honestly. I think Fang Dragon is not gonna come in, mostly because it doesn't kill Outlaw Medic or the Modern Age, and they probably have Dawnbringer Cleric too. So am I just trying to play a more like mid-rangey type game plan? Maybe, right? I feel like Coffin Purge should come in because they are also going to have Prismatic Strands. Okay, so that's 3 cuts because we are a 61 card deck. Okay, so I am going to actually cut one of the Giants, and I actually think I am also going to cut the Dread Return. I might reconsider this when we are on the play, but now that we are on the draw, I do think I'm going to do something like this. And honestly, I'm leaning cutting either a Scrapwork Mutt or a Stinkweed Imp. I think I'm going to cut a Scrapwork Mutt. And my reasoning for that is that this is not a creature that attacks or trades profitably in this matchup. And I just think we want like solid game plan cards that advance our game plan. So a Satyr Wayfinder does its thing by itself. Scrapwork Mutt without the Imp is not great. And even with the Stinkweed Imp, sometimes it's not what we want to be doing in this matchup. Now, that could be wrong, and maybe I should... Oh, I will definitely keep this hand. It's not amazing or anything, but there is a lot of potential here. A lot of potential. I do have to be a little worried about Hydroblast, because we are a more red-centric deck than what I usually play when I'm playing Dredge. I am going to keep, yes. They just start off with an Azorius Guildgate. That is fine. Okay. So I'm just going to go Mountain to represent Pyroblast, and then I'm going to cycle the Generous Ant at end of turn. Squadron Hawk's fine. Did our opponent mulligan? I feel like they did. Yes. They started on 6. So Generous Ant turns into a Haunted Mire. A Cliffgate might be good eventually. I'm just going to play a Leyline Weaver here. I don't have anything super crazy to do with it next turn, but just having a blocker for the Squadron Hawk is not the worst. And if they have a removal, maybe they want to point it towards that. But the Leyline Weaver would also allow us to go Molten Gatekeeper into... Okay, Brainstorm. So they're going to Brainstorm and then shuffle with the Hawks. Seems good. The Leyline Weaver does allow us to go Molten Gatekeeper into Tapland. Their Citadel Gate goes on red, which is interesting. I really don't want to be drawing these Coffin Purges, but I did put them in my deck, right? Yeah, I think I'm good going Molten Gatekeeper. Would love to have a Chrysalis, of course. This can get hit. It didn't. I'll play the Haunted Mire that they know about. Okay. They didn't cycle with the Hawk, but they did cycle with the Lorien Revealed. So they cleared their Brainstorm. What is the red for in this situation? I'm not super familiar with call gates. So their Hawk finds 2 more Hawks. Are you just going to play them? The Modern Age. Okay. Ooh, that's a good discard. Get in for 1. Sure thing. Nice. That is excellent for us. So, unfortunately, I do feel like I need to leave up the black. It also allows me to Satyr Wayfinder later, right? So I guess that's what I'm doing. So let's go Chrysalis. Chrysalis is especially good here because we have a Molten Gatekeeper and we have the Leyline Weaver untapping us. Are you going to respond with your Prismatic Strands? You are not. Okay. You might regret that. I guess I'll just sacrifice a spawn so I can still hold up the black mana, Wayfinder. Okay, so we did send a gatekeeper to the graveyard and a mutt. Opponent knows we have blast. Honestly, I feel like I'm just gonna do this now, because otherwise what can happen is that I try to Coffin Purge on their turn, it gets hit by something like a counterspell or whatever, and then if I try to do it again on my turn, it doesn't work. Oh, I guess I should have attacked first, right? I forgot Molten Gatekeeper could attack. Yeah, that was on me. If we lose because of 2 points of damage, that's 100% on me. And that actually does make a big difference, because every point of damage in this matchup is super important. We are kind of bricking here. We don't have a lot to do right now. That can certainly help. Maybe not right now. So, am I gonna try to go aggressive? Yeah. Yeah, let's. Let's see if they let us do our thing. Or if there's a Thraben Charm in my future. Doesn't seem like it. Bring back the mutt. That's all resolving. Okay. I'm probably just getting rid of another Coffin Purge here. Leyline Weaver. So I do get to cast that, but unfortunately I don't get to cast my Dread Return as things currently stand. So I feel like I'm just going to cast the Leyline Weaver, get my 2 points of damage, and I'm just gonna go aggressive. And this is actually very good, even if opponent, not very good of course, but it is a good thing that if opponent has a Prismatic Strands, we have a good variety of colors. Okay, seems like opponent is just going to go all in on killing the Molten Gatekeeper. That actually makes sense. And there is another Prismatic Strands. That's a little rough. So I imagine this is going on red, in which case opponent say, yeah, I don't really know how much damage that was supposed to be, but I believe opponent put it on red. That's fine. So this goes on black, and it is a little rough that opponent should be at 3 life, but they are not. And opponent still has 7 cards in hand. 2 of them are Hawks, sure. Another Modern Age. Discards one of the Hawks. Still no Basilisk Gate. That's not bad for us. What is our best draw? Probably just another Chrysalis. And there's the Thraben Charm. That's quite bad. That's not another Chrysalis. I guess I'm just going aggro, and I'll let them do their thing. I'm not too worried about them killing my Wayfinder. Okay. So I imagine this is going to be yet another Prismatic Strands. No. We just traded some stuff. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm fine just getting my Leyline Weaver back. It's not an amazing creature, but having the Dread Return in the graveyard is probably where I want it now. What was that? Envelop. Okay. Yeah, so opponent definitely brought in the hate. So I believe they have one more Hawk. There's the Basilisk Gate. Hardcast Lorien revealed. Okay. So Basilisk Gate is not as scary without a life gain creature, which they now have. So that's a 6/6. And we are drawing stone cold nothing. Yeah, that's rough. Because now I'm going to attack. Opponent gets jump block with a Vector Glider. And then they get to start gaining life. And we are in a pickle. Yep. Yeah, this is not great. So they just gate up the Sacred Cat. Should have definitely done that before, but I'm comfortable conceding now. They are going to start gaining 1,000,000 life, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Okay, so that didn't go great. Unfortunately, opponent had the things. In which case, what are we trying to do here? Maybe the Coffin Purges can get swapped for Fairy Macabres. And then I think that on the play, I do want to be the aggressive graveyard deck again. Maybe I'll cut like a Gatekeeper and shave like an Acorn Harvest. This is rough. Okay. Yeah, let's try. Okay. This is a fine hand. It's like a nothing burger, but the fact that I have triple creature and double blast maybe allows us to tempo our opponent out just enough. Opponent mulligan to 5. Okay. Are they just aggressively looking for graveyard hate? Okay, they capped on 5. There is a Seagate. That's fine. Okay, Chrysalis is not bad, but I do need to hit me some land drops. Okay, Ridgeline's actually pretty good. Ridgeline plus a Stinkweed in the graveyard is great. Play like another tap land. Yeah. Is there an untapped land in my future so I get to... Oh, wait, I guess... I'm actually not gonna dredge yet. So let's attack first. I am going to play the Town Greeter first, because if I hit a gate or a black land, I would like to play that. Opponent knows we have Fairy Macabre now. So if I play the red... Yeah, I'm not going to do that. If I play Mountain, it's the most telegraphed Red Blast of all time because they know about the Ridgeline. And I don't think there's like a... Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's like a 3-drop that I'm super worried about answering here. I am just going to continue to draw and to attack. So I do get to cast this Gatekeeper first. It resolves. That's good. And then I think next turn I do start dredging. Okay, opponent's making a treasure. Makes sense. Ooh, this is so tempting. I actually think I'm gonna fight over this. And the reason for that is that, yeah, the reason for that is since our opponent mulliganed to 5, I think that any chance I get to snap one of their cards is worth it. And now that I think about it, I'm actually not gonna dredge still because it feels like they are playing off they're trying to play off the back of something like a Thraben Charm, and I would like to try and blank that as much as possible. So I'm just gonna play like a mid-range beatdown deck. So now I get to... Do I go Chrysalis is the question, right? Because it really feels like they're still holding up Counterspell, in which case I think I'm still gonna go Town Greeter here. Chrysalis would obviously be good, but Chrysalis gets hit by a Counterspell. Yeah, nice. So Cliffgate here is great. Hits me my land drop and gives me black mana. And then next turn I get to start doing the Chrysalis thing. Just make another treasure, sure. Journey is gonna go on the Gatekeeper. That's unfortunate, but fine. And the Outlaw Medic. Rough. I don't get to do anything with my Red Blast. Okay, so let's think about this a little. Opponent is fully... No, they're not fully tapped out. Never mind. I do think I'm dredging still. And I'm hoping that I'm playing against Counterspell and not Journey to Nowhere. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go for the kill right now. So wait, what does going for the kill look like? It's... Yeah, so it's Gatekeeper first into Scrapwork Mutt, discard Lotlet, dredge Stinkweed Imp. Okay, so I attack first. Yeah, I'm basically hoping this is Counterspell and not Thraben Charm, because if it is Thraben Charm, we're kind of screwed. Okay, so opponent takes 5. Dread Return on the Lotlet. Oh, that's true. There's Envelop as well. Let's see if they have another one. And we steal a win from Coggates. Wow. That was very tense, but that was super impressive. This is a thing that the traditional dredge lists are not able to do very well against Coggates. So that was a good showing, like a strong 1-0 from us. Very happy. Let's go to round number 2. All right, welcome to round number 2. We are on the draw against JDoherty. On the draw, what does this hand do? This is basically already a mulligan in a way, but there is potential here. There's no black mana. I think going in blind, I'll keep this. This is basically like a good 6-card hand. Oh, so is this Familiars? Well, our hand just got like so much worse. Yeah, so this does feel like it's Familiars. Yep. Familiars being the only deck in the format that plays Mortuary Mire. Rumble. I'm gonna play a Leyline Weaver. First, because it kind of masks what I'm doing. Second, because if it stays, it's just a guarantee mana next turn. Of course, if opponent goes like 2 mana, bounce land. Yeah. And if they get to snap my Leyline Weaver, of course, things are horrible. Maybe that was a reason to... Okay, they didn't. Woo! I was going to say, maybe that was a reason to not do it. So we get to go Rumble number 1. Sure, I'll take a Bog. And just attack for 2. 3, Seagate? Or is this a snap? Familiars into... Guess I shouldn't. F6, Modern Age. Okay. So they're playing the Modern Age version, discarding Deep Analysis. That's fine. I have to be a little concerned about maybe Negate in the main deck. Just hard casts. Not hard casts, like just casts the Deep Analysis. So let's Rumble. Guess I'll take the Generous End. I just need to hit lands. Do I want to play a Gatekeeper? Start trying to pressure a little bit, or do I just try to go all in? Normally, how you win against Familiars is that you set up a board and then you Dread Return multiple times in the same turn. In which case, I guess I'm just going to mutt, dredge 5. There's a lotlet giant. There is another scrapwork mutt here, but there is no dread return currently. So unfortunately, I think we are 1 turn away, right? Because now, if I go all in, I would need to hit super well. Yeah, I think unfortunately we're not going to be able to do it all right now. In which case, I think I'm fine just trying to set up for a turn 5 kill. Of course, opponent is going to untap with a bunch of mana and a familiar and all the things that entails. Discarding a plains. Okay. Second familiar is scary. Cycling an Ash Barrens. Sure thing. Is there a snap coming? There is a snap coming. That's rough. That was the card I didn't want to see because it just unlocks their hand. Modern Age number 2. Discarding Modern Age number 3. Sure. Is this an Ephemerate line? Nope. They pass with 1 mana up. Okay. So there's the Dread returns. So let's try to think about this. So if I mutt, I don't get to dredge unless I discard the Stinkweed Imp because they're all in my hand. And I'm probably trying to play against a negate. Maybe I just have to go for it. I don't think if I pass the turn, things are getting better for me. So I do think I just try to go for it and then hope it's a snap and not a negate. But I don't know. Well, I'm just going to discard and dredge. That's not even lethal. That's very rough. I really needed it to be lethal. So what's the line? Because if I play a creature, it's only +1. Maybe I just kind of need to go for it. I'm actually going to sit on this for a bit. So the first Dread return, I do have double Giant and double Dread return, but it doesn't mean anything. I only have 3 creatures in play. I would need to get my Acorn Harvest into the graveyard, which I currently cannot do. I also missed a land drop. So maybe the line is to go like Dread return on a Wayfinder, try to hit a land drop. Yeah, let's start off there and then we'll see where that takes us. So let's Wayfinder. That resolves. We hit a land drop and we hit another giant. So the land drop is pretty good. Now, but I don't have double red, unfortunately. Yeah, I just think we bricked. So I think we were 1 turn away. If we had the Leyline Weaver in play, for sure we would have gotten it. But for now, I do think we are just going to die. I'll play like 1 or 2 more turns, but I don't imagine we're going to come back from this now. Opponent discards the Ash Barrens. They cycle a landscape. Okay. And pass the turn. Holy moly. Okay. So I think we might have gotten there. Unclear. No. Because again, all my Stinkweeds are in hand, which is super bad. So say I Scrapwork Mutt. Oh, that's actually a damage. Yeah. So I do think this is good enough. So Scrapwork Mutt. I mean, good enough if our opponent has nothing, just to be clear. They can easily have like a double counter. Even like Hardcast Foil is on the table right now. Okay. So our opponent takes a damage. Okay. So we discard the Acorn Harvest. Then we Dread return the Lotlet Giant. This is 15 damage. Man, I can't believe we got there. That's insane. Bring back the Gatekeeper, cast Acorn Harvest. Opponent takes 2, and then we Dread return again. Oh, we don't have another Dread return. No, I messed up. Yeah, I thought we had another Dread return. Rough. Yeah, that's very rough. Darn. Okay, so yeah, I did fully mess that up. I mean, things are not great regardless, so I don't really know if I would have made a different play. Mortuary Mire on the Muldrifter. Yeah. Darn, I thought we had the 3rd Dread return already. I didn't pay attention. Okay, so I do think we are fully dead then. Unless we draw like Dread return now. Off the top. But that doesn't do it, because I used the thing last turn. Right. Yeah, this would have been great, but I played wrong and used the thing. But it actually wouldn't even have worked, I think, because if I didn't play the Molten Gatekeeper last turn, our opponent would have 2 extra life, and that would mean that, yeah, they just hardcast foil, sure. I mean, I'm not going to concede yet, but things are not looking great. If I didn't mess up by casting the Gatekeeper last turn from the graveyard, opponent would have 2 extra life, and then they would be at 15, and it would not be lethal. The Dread return would not be lethal. So they just hardcast the Mold Drifter, sure. There's another Chancery, that's fine. And I believe if opponent has 1 more counterspell, it's GG's for us. So I do get to start off with a Town Greeter. Got some extra dudes in the graveyard. Whoops, that was also a big mistake. I mean, big mistake is all relative right now. If opponent has the counterspell, we are dead. But I could have cast 1 more creature here. So Dread return, Lotlet Giant, show me that you have it. And they did have it. Okay, so we tried our best. Opponent had triple counterspells. They were pinched on mana, but we weren't able to do it all in a single turn, which is unfortunate. And I did mess up a little bit here and there, but it happens. I don't think we lost that game because I misplayed. I just think we lost that game because we were on the draw. Now, I have to make the choice between PwnyMcPwnerson or Last Rites. Considering that we are on the play, I do think Last Rites comes in. The Red Blasts, of course, come in to fight all the counter magic. Now, I don't think I'm going to play PwnyMcPwnerson or Coffin Purge, even though that seems sort of crazy. I think the Acorn Harvest can get cut for now, and I'll probably cut like a couple Chrysalis. Maybe I should just cut them all, but they are so good with Leyline Weaver, right? But they just get bounced. I think I'll cut them. I think they're too mid-rangey. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Okay, yeah, we have colors, we have creatures, we have a piece of interaction on turn 3. But on turn 3, only if I don't play a 2-drop. So Geothermal Bog. So with Generous Ant, I have something to do with my mana here. I just think that I'm going to play my game first, and then when I get a chance to disrupt my opponent, I'll try. Snow-covered plains. Sure. Is this a familiar on turn 2? It sure is. Okay. So I think I'm just going to go Molten Gatekeeper, play the Geothermal Bog, get my Gatekeeper going, hardcast Deep Analysis. Sure thing, buddy. So now what? Do I go for the Last Rites? I can Last Rites for like 3, but that absolutely decimates my hand. Maybe I just continue playing. I guess I can steal Town Greeter and add a body to the board. Okay, we missed. I think I'll still hold a little bit. I'll take another black. Attack for 2. Sure. The Gatekeeper here is going to add up. Chancery is rough. They discard the land. Interesting. So Rumble. Yeah, I'll just take a Town Greeter. Opponent takes another point of damage. Play the Town Greeter. Another point of damage. So do I want a tap land or do I want immediate mana? I think I just want the immediate mana. And unfortunately, I don't have the black mana right now. But I do think I get to Mutt, Dredge. They prohibit? Okay. So what are you holding? Envelop? Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna go crazy then. I made my land drop. I'll deal my point of damage. And then next turn, I can Last Rites for 2 to try and see what's going on. Is this okay? Okay. There's a snap in my future? Sure is. Okay, that's bad. That's very bad. Okay, Modern Age. No Prismatic Strands. Thank you. Okay, untap. I'm gonna Dredge. Okay, so this is another Dread return, meaning that I probably get to kill our opponent here. I'm just trying to figure out how exactly we're gonna go about doing that. So I'm gonna start off with Last Rites. That resolves. I'm just gonna discard everything. Oh, they just have a negate? Embarrassing. Okay. So they just completely flooded out. That's rough for them. Okay. So we get to steal game number 2. That's good. So the last write actually worked well there. Now, on the draw is where things start to get a little dicier, right? I haven't seen Graveyard Hate. I'm going to assume that there are Thraben Charms, but maybe it's just like one or two. I don't think I'm going to go the Chrysalis route, even though it can be pretty good. I do think I'm just going to go the Fairy Macabre route. And I'll try to hit our opponent's Archaeomancer or something when they try to go for it. This is so slow. I don't think I get to keep a hand that is this slow. Well, maybe I'll be forced to. This is the same thing. Okay. Did our opponent keep 7? They did keep 7. This hand is not good. There isn't even a guarantee that I get to hit my 3rd land drop. Fine, guess I'll keep it. Get rid of the giant. But those were 2 bad hands. So opponent leads off on an island. I get to pass the turn. Okay, they're not doing anything. I'll just cycle and get my colors going. This screams that they have a prohibit. I would just rather hit my colors here. And they keep playing draw go. Unfortunately, now I'm forced to commit something. I guess it's the Town Greeter. That's probably a mistake. Should have been the Weaver, because I know this is going to get countered. Yep. And then I don't have another land drop. Yeah, should have been the Weaver. There's a Modern Age and a Preordain. Okay. And a Chancery. I'm going to need to hit some land drops very badly here. Okay. So that works. I guess I'll just go Weaver then for now. Could have gone Gatekeeper, but I think I need to have mana under me to be able to play the game somewhat respectably. There is a Prismatic Strands. Okay. What is this? Okay. Evoked Mold Drifter. That's unfortunate. But yeah, I guess I just let that resolve. Draw your cards. That is so good. And I know that it's basically gonna get countered, but I do think I have to try and fight this. Oh, nice. It worked. Wow. Okay. I was not expecting that to work in the slightest. Okay. Still, things are not looking great for the home team. I honestly don't know which sequence I'm supposed to do. I guess I'll keep trying to play mana first. Because the thing is that they didn't have interaction, so maybe I want them to be a little afraid of another one. Another Red Blast. Is this just a hard cast? Mold Drifter? Oh, it's the Archaeomancer. That's rough for me. And I don't have the interaction. Yep. That's very bad. Very bad. Okay. No, I guess I need to leave this one up. Probably just get to dredging, right? Yeah, but I do think now the game is ostensibly over. My hand was just too slow. Because now I have to get rid of a Strand. I have to get rid of an Archaeo Loop. Opponent has a Prohibit. Ooh. And they have the Snap. Yeah, I think we're done here. Because now they're going to go Ephemerate on the Archaeomancer. Get back the Prohibit. No, just get back the Snap. Okay. Ooh, there's more. Okay, I'll let them do their thing, and then I just want to see what they're doing. And there's a Ghostly Flicker. Okay, yep. We are done here. I'm not going to keep going. It was a nice match. I didn't embarrass myself playing it, so I felt like the cards in our deck were pretty decent. Unfortunately, this version doesn't play Hand Disruption, which is one of the better things against familiars. And unfortunately, we were on the draw for game number 3. So, and we had a very slow hand. Missed land drops, got countered on my 2 mana play on turn 3. Yeah, we just templed out. But that's okay. It was a fine display of the deck still. See you guys back here for round number 3, which is immediately after. So let's go. We are on the play finally against Fredas 3. I think this hand is fine. Would like to have a 3rd land drop, so I didn't have to Cliffgate on green. But I do think this is fine. We have a Rumble on 2, likely a Chrysalis turn 3, if it's good in the matchup. Forest, it is Elves. Every league there's an Elves deck. So I don't think Chrysalis is going to be particularly good. I guess I'll take the land drop. I might still just play the Chrysalis on 3 plus Scrapwork Mutt, because it just makes us go fast. Okay, so it's a different build of Elves. Well, I am going to dredge. I am going to do this. Play the boy. Play the Tentacly boy. Immediately pump it. Scrapwork Mutt. Discard the Stinkweed Imp. Dredge. Nice. We're doing good. And there's still a Stinkweed Imp in our graveyard. Now, what is our opponent doing with Sagu Wildling plus Nettle Sentinel? Winding Way Forest, Quirion, Nyxborn. So they hit twice. There's a Quirion. The Nettle Sentinel is not very scary without Birchlore. If there was a Birchlore, it would be a lot of mana here. Timberwatch. Okay, so let's Dredge. There's an Acorn Harvest, but nothing else. No way to Dredge. We got to gain some life, but it's unclear how good that is. So Cycle the Generous Ascent. Yeah, this is bad. Bad. I really needed to hit something here to help us keep going. I guess I'll just take an untapped land. Now that I know I have an Acorn Harvest, I do think I'm just going to attack. This is 5, 10. Okay, opponent's just taking. Am I trying to... No. I was debating if I wanted to keep up Not to the Bone. I just think I have to try and win. I think keeping up Not to the Bone is a losing proposition. Because I don't add to my board. I don't pressure my opponent. I just gain some life, and then eventually they are going to be able to overcome all of the life that I'm gaining. Ooh, that sucks. Yep. Oh, but they don't have a creature in the graveyard. Oh, that's fine. There's an Elvish Vanguard. That's okay. So this is 317 damage if they want to double activate. I'm fine taking that. I don't think I'm getting another turn regardless. You can pump your elf. Scrapwork Mutt off the top. That's so not what I wanted to draw. Man, that's rough. So I guess I just gain a bunch of life here and pass the turn. And then I might actually block next turn with the Gatekeeper because I might want it in the graveyard. I don't get to... Yeah, I just have to pass. That's not great. I don't even get to push any damage in. Oof, that's... Okay, so clock is ticking. If they untap with that, my game is literally over. Things are not great as they currently stand, but at least I'm likely not gonna die this turn. Okay, so I'm blocking here and what? Probably like here. Yeah, but they probably just get to decimate. Okay, so that's 9. Sure. Okay, so I'll gain 20. Unless there's some fling shenanigan here, which very well could be. Lead the Stampede. That's not what I'm worried about. Yep. I guess that's what I wanted to see, right? Question is if that is lethal. I do think it is because of Acorn Harvest too. Okay, so that resolves. Discard the Dread Return. Oh, we even draw an Ant. That's dope. Got a basic and attack. Am I gonna get got by like a main deck Fairy Macabre or something? I think opponent fully threw that game away. Like, I don't know if they didn't think about the Not to the Bone. They just went super aggro on a turn where they could have very easily just pumped their creatures, decimated my board, and they would have been super stable moving on. Instead, they killed my Scrapwork Mutt, which allowed me to continue playing and left themselves super open to me just comboing them out. So... I mean, that's unfortunate. Things like this definitely happen, but we should not have won that game. Now, what else am I trying to do here? The Fang Dragons are the pretty auto-include part. I think even though Acorn Harvest was very good there, maybe it was just too slow. They seem to be playing the version with Elvish Vanguard, which means that they are probably trying to go a little bit more aggro, so Not to the Bone might be good. I think I'll shave a Gatekeeper. I need 2 more cuts. Oh, Leyline Weaver is not great in this matchup, right? Maybe I'll keep a couple of them. Yeah, I think I'll try it like this, but it's not great in the matchup. It's just like a mana dork that sometimes goes over the top with Chrysalis. But I have been very impressed with the interaction between Leyline Weaver and Chrysalis, Dread Return. Yep, I'm not going to keep this one. I do need at least 2 mana to play the game. Okay, that's fine. It's still not great, but it's fine. I think I'll actually just get rid of the Generous Ant here, and I'll keep the Stinkweed as a thing that I can try to do if I hit a Mutt. So opponent capped 7. We are starting on 6. Another thing that I've been very happy with in regards to this deck is the fact that you're playing so many mountains that your red spells are just reliably castable. So here, for example, if we snap a Fang Dragon off the top, that is pretty good because we just get to cast it on turn 2, which is not usually the case when you're playing other versions of Dredge. I am, however, just going to go on green-black here to start. And then there's the question of what am I doing next turn? Is it going to be Leyline Weaver or is it going to be Wayfinder? There is a Birch Lore, sure. If they're playing Nettle Sentinel, there had to be a Birch Lore. So I need them to go like 3 more 1-drops and then I get to top deck Fang Dragon and wipe their board. What is this? Seeker of Skybreak. Really? Is there some sort of combo with this in your deck, or is this just a value creature? I am actually going to play the Weaver. 1, it blocks. 2, it allows me to double spell next turn. This Leyline Weaver thing is also very interesting because I've been considering another deck. It might just slot in very well there too. Timberwatch. That's not great, obviously. I think I'm taking the trade. Yeah, I think that anything that allows me to sort of control my opponent's board a little bit is valuable. Sagu Wildling. It is just Forest. Are they just playing Wildling in place of Generzent for some reason? Town Greeter. We do mill a Fang Dragon. That was our next draw. Yeah, well. Sometimes these things happen. I think this one has to go on green, so I have double green next turn. But things are obviously not going great for us because they have an active Timberwatch, and we have basically nothing. What am I trying to do here? I think nothing, right? Because this just effectively means that they are pushing damage. Sure. Are you pushing damage once or twice? Just once. And they don't do anything with the rest of their mana. Okay. So I'm gonna play, they might be flooded. I'll play a Stinkweed Imp now that I drew a tap land. And I'm actually not going to attack because now their attacks get very awkward. Yeah, I think they're just flooded. I feel like their attacks get very awkward. They maybe disagree. Is their hand just like a couple Fair Macabres? Sure. I'm dredging. There's another one there. Okay. So green, red, Satyr Wayfinder. Did they bring like counter magic maybe? Is that why they're not doing anything? Sure. I'll take the Haunted Mire and then I'll replay the Stinkweed Imp. That seems strange to me. You could have just played that this turn. Oh, it's another one? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. But now they don't get to attack anymore, which is great for us. And maybe I just get to do my thing and kill my opponent? Let's find out. Play Wayfinder. If their last card is a Fair Macabre, I'm gonna get got. I'm not super worried about that. No Dread Return, no Lotlet Giant, no nothing, huh? Well, in that case, I do think I'm just going to fully set up this turn. And then I'll try to go all out next turn against my opponent. Oh, that's not good. Why did I play the Stinkweed Imp? Now I don't have anything to do with the Scrapwork Mutts. That was pretty bad. Now I don't have anything to dredge. I don't have a thing to discard even. That's... God, opponent is absolutely flooded. Is it another Ent? Just a Sagu Wildling. Okay. And a Kraken of the Food. Sure, opponent goes up to 26. Yeah, but I definitely messed this up too. So, this is great. Let's go to attacks, because I believe this is going to be free 2 points of damage. And we currently have 6, which is enough to Scrapwork Mutt 3 times. And honestly, I do think I'm just going to go for it. So, Scrapwork Mutt number 1, discard, Generzent, sure. Then, what am I bringing back? Probably one of the Scrapwork Mutts, right? Sure. Sacrifice the Stinkweed Imp, send the Scrapwork Mutt, dredge, and do it again. Dredge. Hello. So this is the last... Oh no, there's one more in the deck. Well, I did hit my 4th Scrapwork Mutt, so I guess that's what we're doing, and we're hoping to hit at least a giant. Nothing. Good lord. So I get to go again. How many creatures do I have in the graveyard? 20? That's not enough, but it will be fine. So this last one just gives me a Town Greeter. Sure. And I do think now I start sacrificing these guys. At least a little bit. Okay, there's a giant, but there's no last Dread Return. So we fizzle, and now I have to try and kill my opponent next turn. That's not great. Okay. I don't think I'm dead, but it was not great. It's so unlucky. Like, all lot-led giants in the bottom, like, 11 cards of the deck. Yikes. Okay. But this, yeah, I was gonna say, this does leave our opponent open to drawing something, which is what I didn't want. Okay, that's a bunch of dudes, but that's not any... They draw 4 cards. Okay. Is this lethal? Please tell me it's not. Oh, I think it's exactly lethal. Yeah, it's exactly 12, 15 damage in the air, right? Come on. Man, we were extremely unlucky there. And that's why I didn't want to just pass the turn. I mean, I guess I could have just taken an extra... I don't know. Man, that sucks. I'm very unhappy right now. And I know what some people are going to say, like, oh, we were under no pressure. They didn't have any cards in hand. But you saw how that works with elves. They top decked the draw spell, hit 4 creatures, and exactly killed us. So maybe I could have kept a Stinkweed Imp alive. No, actually, I don't think that would have worked, right? Because I needed them to be able to dredge aggressively. We dredged like 20 cards that turn and didn't get there. Yeah, well, that sucks. I think that was our chance to get a win where they fizzled. Now, of course, we have game 3 and we are on the play, which is great, but I still don't know if it's going to be good enough because they are usually just faster than us and more consistent than us too. Well, I'm going to keep this hand. I have a Rumble to maybe try and find a Fang Dragon or something. I have the collars. I think I'm good with this. Our opponent mulligans to 6, and they keep on 6. Let's go. So opponent goes Forest into Birch Lore. Okay. I think with another Rumble in hand, nah, I'm just going to Wayfinder. If there's a Fang Dragon in my top 4, I'm going to be mad. But it is what it is. You don't control your top deck. Okay, there is a land and there is no Fang Dragon. All good things. Forest for our opponent into... Ooh, Priest of Titania is scary. Is there another 1-drop? Sure is. No, just a Cycling of the Generous End. Okay. Fang Dragon? No Fang Dragon yet. But I do think I am going to Rumble here in an attempt to find one. No luck. So I already played a land. Guess I'll take an untapped mana source. Attack for 1. Now I could just cycle this Generous End, but I do think I'm just trying to go fast. And if I hit a Fang Dragon that they know about, so be it. Still no Fang Dragon. Okay, I'll take a Wayfinder. We are going through the deck reasonably fast. Unfortunately, our opponent is untapping with a huge mana battery. All they need here is a draw spell. Yep, there's a lead. And they draw Sagu and Jaspera and Well-Wisher. That's rough. There's the Well-Wisher, and there's probably going to be a Jaspera too? No, they're holding back because of the Fang Dragon. Makes sense. Still no Fang Dragon. So what am I trying to do here? There's no way I get to rush them when they have a Well-Wisher. Especially Well-Wisher plus Seeker of Skybreak. So, are my options here to just unearth the Scrapwork Mud, try to hit? Is there any way I can try to dig for lethal? 18 damage is so much. So let's try to think about it. If I Scrapwork Mud, discard the Stinkweed Imp, and just take a draw, it has to be Fang Dragon or I'm dead. Let's try to think about how I can maybe try to kill our opponent. I start off by Wayfinder, mill 4. Then I Scrapwork Mud. No, maybe that's not true. Maybe I start with the Scrapwork Mud. Scrapwork Mud, Dredge Stinkweed Imp, try to hit another one and a Stinkweed Imp to then Dread Return, and then try to keep going, but I would need to hit like 10. And I don't get... Yeah, I think it's just Fang Dragon off the top or bust. And is there any other thing that I can do? I don't believe so. I'll just discard this and take a draw. Fang Dragon. Yep. I think we're dead. Opponent's gonna gain like 10 plus life next turn. Still no Fang Dragon. Man. Yeah, that's not great. Didn't hit any Dread Returns either. Rough. And we are at like 6 creatures with 14 cards in the graveyard. Maybe I shouldn't have left the Knot to the Bones and just try to go all in, bring in like something else in place of them. Yeah, so now they're gonna gain a lot of life. Not necessarily dead, but we are very close. That's fine. So how much life is this? 32? Oh, okay. So 27. 27 is more 30. Yeah, 30. Okay, 30 is a little more manageable than 32. You could have attacked for a point of damage. Yeah, now I do think I just have to try and go for it, right? And we already fizzled. Yep. No, there's nothing here for us to do. Yep. All right. We are beat. That's fine. So we are now 1 and 2. Not a great record so far. But I do think both familiars and elves are bad matchups. Again, the deck has a lot of bad matchups, I know. But at least we played against elves. And I'll see you guys back here for round number 4 in just a minute. All right, welcome back to round number 4. We are on the draw against SpankyJ. I feel like I am going to keep this hand. I have the Generous End to get me the Haunted Mire for black mana. I have a turn 2 Wayfinder or Leyline Weaver. I think it's fine. And let's see what we are against. Bleeding Woods. What was this? I saw a deck list. I saw like a Dredge deck list playing this, I think. I think there was some Dredge result where the person was playing like a couple Bleeding Woods. I don't quite remember. I will just play a mountain and pass the turn. Yep, looks like I'm correct. So we are playing the Mirror, Gatekeeper, Imp, and Sneaky Snacker. That's a good turn to hit. Dang, that's actually a great hit. We are in a little bit of trouble here. Oh, I got an untapped forest. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to be doing. So hopefully, actually, unfortunately, I don't think I get to go Leyline Weaver, right? Or do I? Maybe I do. Because it's Dredge, they're not going to have removal. I think I'm fine playing this, and then next turn, I'll try to do the Wayfinder plus Greeter play, or Wayfinder plus Scrapwork Mutt, and we'll see how things go. Opponent just took a draw. Oh no, never mind. They did mill. Okay. So the decks are actually pretty different. They're playing Snacker and Stormshriek Pharaohs and things like that, and we are not. And speaking of which, there's a Stormshriek Pharaoh. Opponent is dredging faster than we are. Yep, but they can't really attack. And they chose black as well. All right. So, oh, yeah, right. That's exactly what I want to do. This is really good. Untap the Leyline Weaver. Get Chrysalis in play. Play the Wayfinder. Get a land. Okay. So we are ahead on board. And we are ahead like on mana. But we are pretty far behind in how many cards we milled. There's another mountain. Is this a Faithless Looting flashback? Ooh, it's Cathartic Reunion. So the Snackers get to come back. And there's a Scrapwork Mutt. Dang. Opponent is popping off. They have 9 creatures in the graveyard. Double Dread Return. Oliphant. Okay. So I guess I'm starting off here. Playtown Greeter. Still didn't hit anything super interesting. And that's kind of rough now. So 3, 4, possibly 5 mana. 1, 2, 3 for 5. Yeah, I think we might die next turn. But regardless, I think I have to try and push some damage through. And I am actually going to attack with the Leyline Weaver. Okay, they chump. Take 3 down to 17. They do have 2 Gnaw to the Bones already. Okay, so let's go Acorn Harvest, untap my Spider, get a couple bodies, land, Scrapwork Mutt, discard the Dread Return. There's the Stinkweed Imp that I want. And so opponent's at 10, I'm at 13. I'm trying to decide if I want to Dread Return an Oliphant, a Generous Ant, or a Molten Gatekeeper. The Generous Ant is more attack. I do think it's just the Oliphant, and we'll see if our opponent can kill us, honestly. I think that's where I'm at currently. Actually, I'll keep the Squirrel, and I'll sacrifice the bodies. So Oliphant comes back. Leyline Weaver is untapped to cycle the other Oliphant in hand. And guess we'll see if we're dead. Yeah, probably. Unless they get very unlucky and don't find a giant. And there's the giant. Is there enough? There are 14, so I'm just going to see if they're going to do it correctly. Another Scrapwork Mutt would allow us to take a bit of a look at their deck as well. There's the other Snacker. We are currently at 17 creatures, so it's an easy kill. Yeah, opponent was on the play, and they had the stinkweed, and usually in Dredge mirrors, when that happens, it's lights out for the other person. They were just faster than us on every level. So, Fairy Macabre's Coffin Purges come in. I need 4 cuts here. Actually, I think Chrysalis is going to be the cut that I'm going to go for, right? Because Chrysalis is a hell of a creature, but I'm just looking to go faster than my opponent and hit my pieces of interaction. The Fang Dragons are an acceptable addition as well. I think I'll cut like 1 Gatekeeper. No, actually I'll leave the Gatekeepers and I'll get rid of the Leyline Weavers. Let's do like 3-3, maybe. But the Fang Dragon is so good. And sure, yeah, let's do like 2-2. I think that's good enough. So I want to be on the play for sure. This is a hand that doesn't do anything. This is a hand that doesn't do anything because it has no lands. This is a hand that plays. And I am likely just going to get rid of... That's rough, right? Because I don't want to get rid of Fairy Macabre. So it's either Oliphant plus Stinkweed. I think it's just the 2 Stinkweeds, and then I'm going to cycle the Oliphant on turn 1 to shove them back in my deck. I mean, not back in the deck, but, you know, shuffle the deck. There's a Haunted Mire, sure. So I'll cycle the Oliphant, get the black-red land, and that would have been very good with the Stinkweed Imp that I sent to the graveyard just now. Okay, we hit another land drop, but there's still no Stinkweed Imp, which is a problem. There's a red land. What is this? Wayfinder? Cathartic Reunion on Dread Return and Cliffgate. Sure, I'm fine with that. Nothing too crazy going on there. I have a Cliffgate of my own. So attack for 1, play the Mutt. Guess I'll discard the Geothermal Bog. And guess I'll play Manor Gate on black. There's a Town Greeter. Opponent hits another Dread Return, but no land. Has a land from hand. That's fine. Fatalist Looting. Sure. Gatekeeper and a Mountain. Alright. Dread Return can eventually be good, but it's not good right now. Rumble. Yeah, I'll take the Scrapwork Mutt, and I will Mutt immediately. Still don't want to get rid of the Fair Macabre. I'll just get rid of the Dread Return. Okay, and I will attack. Lots of non-creatures in the graveyard too. Lots of spells and lands, unfortunately for us. So Cliffgate on black. Now, I could, if I wanted, put like an Oliphant into play, but I don't know if that's better than just waiting on that. They're bringing back the Gatekeeper. Sure. And there's a Wayfinder. Okay. I'll take my damage. Are you going to Dread Return a Stormshriek Pharaoh? What's going on? There's some Mutts and a Cliffgate. Sure. Okay. I'll take 2. And opponent just passes. That's odd. They can probably tell that I have a Fair Macabre. Ooh, great draw. So Rumble. Yeah. Coffin Purge is good. I would like to take a land, but I don't think I can. So I'll do it like this. Keep Coffin Purge up. Town Greeter. We missed, but there is a Lot-Led Giant. Attack. Opponent is trading. Trying to avoid me reanimating the Lot-Led Giant, but that is fine by me. So now I can bring back the Giant. But if they have a Fairy Macabre, I lose like all of my things. I guess that's fine. And if I was going to do this, I should probably have brought back the Gatekeeper earlier. Okay, that just resolved. So opponent takes 10 points of damage, down to 4. And they can have a Knot to the Bone in hand. It's not inconceivable. Okay. Stormshriek, discarding a land. And they do need to find a blocker here. Okay. Found a blocker, but that is still lethal if I just unearth a couple Scrapwork Mutts. What did they mill? Okay. Did they cut the Knot to the Bone from their deck? It's very weird if they did. Okay. So I guess that's even better because I get to go Mutt, Dredge, Mutt, discard the Lot-Led, and attack for lethal. Okay. So being on the play, as you can see, big, huge advantage. I don't think I'm gonna mess around with anything else. I think this is the list that I'm going with. All right, they chose to play first, figures. This hand is fine. would like to have a Pharaoh Macabre, a Coffin Purge early to try and interact with that a little bit. So they're just going to straight up go Generous Ascent into Psycho. And they are getting a Wooded Ridgeline. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I'll start off with that. I was going to play the Manor Gate, and I was debating if I was going to choose black or red, but hitting the Geothermal Bog is just so good. Okay, and it seems opponent capped a slower hand. Okay, so I am going to be the first one to resolve a mill creature, but it doesn't matter all that much if I don't hit... Nice, I did hit a Stinkweed Imp. I was going to say, it doesn't matter much unless I hit a Stinkweed Imp, but we did. However, I do not have the Pharaoh Macabre that I would love to have since the start of the game. I think it's a really good card in this matchup. So there's their Wayfinder. They do hit some lands. Let's see which one they're going to take. They chose the Mountain. So I imagine there's a follow-up. Ooh, yeah, Faithless Looting plus Stinkweed Imp is certainly a thing. So I will Dredge as well. My opponent's dredging, of course, was much better than mine because they have draw spells. So let's start off by attacking, which is the easy part. And we are trading. Okay. Then let's Town Greeter. There's a Lotlet. That's very good. And now I guess I'll play Manor Gate on black. So my opponent doesn't have the mana to cast the Dread Return and doesn't have a Lotlet in their graveyard. They just are going to draw. They just draw a card, okay? This is a flashback. Cathartic Reunion. Dang. Okay. They are going deep. 18 creatures, okay? So they do get to bring their Snackers back. Yep. 17 creatures in their graveyard. Do they not have a land drop? They do not. Interesting. Well, I am also going to be dredging, right? Because I need to hit like one of the Coffin Purges that I'm apparently not able to find. I'm trying to do the math to see if any of this is lethal, but I played the Manor Gate and not the Cliff Gate, which is a huge problem right now. Because if I could, it would be 2 plus 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 14 damage. That's 6 damage down to 12. It wouldn't have been lethal regardless. I think I'm one short. Okay. So what am I trying to find here then? This is very difficult now because I don't have an untapped land, unfortunately. So probably I'm just trying to dredge. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to dredge and hit a Coffin Purge. Because if I don't hit a Coffin Purge, I think I'm just dead. I hit 4 lands and a Malevolent Rumble. Yikes. Yeah, I think that does it. I think that's the end for us. Because now all opponent needs to do is bring back like a thing, a Gatekeeper or whatever, sacrifice, and we are dead. Yep. Unfortunately, they were on the play, and they are the faster deck with the cantrips, with the draw spells and whatnot. And even though we have the hate, we didn't see any of it. Like 30 cards in, no Pharaoh Macabres and no Coffin Purges. That's rough. Yeah, well, it happens. These two versions are pretty similar. They are more like green-red focused and not as black focused as some of the other ones. So I'll let our opponent kill us here, but we are done. Oh, they do have Knot to the Bone. Okay. They haven't brought anything back, which leads me to believe that maybe they're worried about my 1 black mana. And they're passing the turn? Wow. Oh, I should have... I'm so dumbstruck. I should have definitely cycled this, like, for sure. Okay. Well, I guess I'm cycling it now. And so they have Knot to the Bone. 17 creatures is a lot. I guess I'll get the Wooded Ridgeline. Sure thing, buddy. Gain your life. They're still dredging. There's a Coffin Purge. So they are also playing it. Makes sense. Gatekeeper, yep. And another Gatekeeper, sure. I'll take 8. Important to note that opponent does not have black mana. And they are bringing back their Lotlet Giant. That's fine. So I'll just cast my Dread Return. So I'll take 16, and they're passing the turn. All right. Coffin Purge from hand. That's interesting. So black, green, whatever. Now I guess I'll just cast the Stinkweed Imp and pass the turn. Right now, I'm thinking about two things. First, my opponent is way ahead of me in dredging, meaning that they will deck out long before I do. Second thing, I cast one of my Knot to the Bones from hand while they cast it from the graveyard. So I still have one in the graveyard that I can cast, while our opponent seemingly doesn't have any other. Of course, they can have one stuck in hand, but I think currently I am pretty favored here, especially because I didn't Coffin Purge last turn, and now I have the Coffin Purge in hand, but from our opponent's point of view, it's very clear that I didn't have anything, otherwise I would have exiled it. Maybe I was just being mana efficient too. Hardcast Molten Gatekeeper, yep. So this is just an attack with the Snacker. Yeah, because if I block you, don't get your Dread Return anymore. And they are just passing. Crazy stuff. Okay. I mean, I'm just interested in not dying here, so I guess I'll just do literally the same thing I did last turn. Play a blocker, pass the turn. Really wanted to draw just a land here. Also important to note, I am ahead on clock. That is another thing that makes a huge amount of difference. Molten Gatekeeper comes back, sure. And Scrapwork Mutt from hand, okay. So I do take 2 points of damage, which is a considerable amount. Maybe they are going to try and... Okay, they discard a Snacker. Maybe they're going to try and double Dread Return. Is that what's going on? Okay. So I'm definitely killing the Lotlet. And then I think I'm fine taking 2 from a creature that's going to go away. Sure. Sure. And they do go for it on the Giant, so I will Coffin Purge. And I am just going to take a draw. Sure. If I find an untapped land here is very good. We didn't, but we did find another Knot to the Bone. That's something. I'll just pass. I'm just going to deck my opponent out here. Okay, that's important because that gives them black mana. Cathartic Reunion. Okay, that's annoying because the Snackers are going to come back. But that's okay. So that's 3 damage. I'm just going to yield to this. And a passing of the turn. All right. So I guess I'll gain 34 life. Then I'll untap. Take another draw. Ooh, that's a good card. Good card. All right. So I want to make 4 mana worth of plays, which means that I'm not doing anything. I'm just hanging out. Coffin Purge targeting my Knot to the Bone. I'll cast it. Feel like you really should have targeted my Coffin Purge, maybe. Play a mountain, sure. Yep. I'll take 6. Yeah, and they concede. Yep, they see the writing on the wall. Okay, so I'm going to take a minute to talk about what happened in this matchup, because if you are a Dredge enjoyer, aficionado, or whatever, you might have seen where my opponent made a crucial mistake, or maybe you didn't if you're not as familiar with the mirror match in situations like this. So my opponent was faster than me. They were on the play. They got to mill more cards early on. However, their problem was that they never stabilized their mana. That was problem number 1. They didn't get to use black mana over the course of the game. And yes, their deck is a version that is not as intent on casting black spells as other versions, like mine, for example. And even mine is like a little under the usual amount of mana sources for a deck like this. However, since they didn't prioritize getting the black mana early, since they didn't prioritize, what happened was we came to a point where I wasn't worried about double Dread Return, like from hand plus from the graveyard, because they didn't have even a single black mana. And then later on, when we started on this situation of me like having the Knot to the Bones and the Coffin Purge and being able to cast them, my opponent took a very long time to be able to find a source that produced mana. Where do I think my opponent made a mistake? First of all, in those early turns where my opponent started to go aggressive with the dredging instead of just taking draws. If my opponent draws a Town Greeter that gets them to black mana, or even more mana, my opponent played a good portion of the game on 3 lands. And while at the end we were on the same number of lands and my opponent theoretically had the bigger board, every turn that they every time that they aggressively dredged meant that they were getting close to a situation where I get to maybe just exile 2 key cards in the form of like Lotless Giant. And then by the time I start to Gnaw to the Bone, I have enough creatures to survive. I think my opponent is maybe not, and I don't mean this as like a diss on my opponent, as more of like constructive criticism. I think my opponent is not as familiar with the dynamics of a mirror match between Dredge decks like this. And if that was the case, I hope that they get to watch this and maybe they get to tell me about what was going through their mind or what was going on in their hand that forced them to do something like this. I think the person on the play is heavily favored. I think my opponent was favored even more because they have the draw spells to be faster, but I just think they didn't prioritize the correct things and didn't maybe sequence their plays in an ideal manner. Being faster is important, but being able to actually cast your spells is more important. And if you're not playing Bojuka Bog or something like that in your list, I don't think you get to just hope that you're going to go fast and ignore your opponent's Gnaw to the Bones. Rant over. We are now 2-2. Let's go to the final round. All right, here we are. We are on the play finally against PwnyMcPwnerson. So this is unfortunately not a keep. This is a keep, and it is a keep that I'm going to... Yeah, I'm going to keep this hand based solely on the idea of like a Chrysalis turn 3, and maybe that's going to be good enough. I'll get rid of the Dredge. No, I think I'll get rid of the Forest. Considering that I already have one black source, I think having the Dread return is a better idea than another Forest. Oh, is this High Tide? Good God. Yeah, okay, so my Chrysalis turn 3 does nothing, and in fact, my whole deck is not going to do anything until the sideboard, maybe. Yeah, well, that helps. That's actually very good. But again, we are just hoping our opponent fizzles. PwnyMcPwnerson. And a passing of the turn. All right. They're going to reach through mists, tapping my green source. Okay, that's fair. That's actually very good for them. Untap. Well, in which case I am just going to Malevolent Rumble. That's a whole lot of nothing. Is the other Chrysalis good? I guess it's the better card. So I'm going to do that. And then I get to Manor Gate on black. Pass the turn. But still, even though Chrysalis is obviously a messed up card, it's going to take me a miracle to be able to kill my opponent here. Yeah, Merchant Scroll, find High Tide. Yep, there it is. So we are well on our way to just dying on turn 4. 3, cast the Chrysalis, do the things. This is all very cool. This is all very impressive, and none of it is going to matter. So Chrysalis comes in, green, red, sacrifice, sacrifice, Chrysalis again, untap, and guess I'll get in for 2. And even if our opponent doesn't kill us, I don't think we have enough damage regardless to kill them next turn. Oh, they are passing. Interesting. I guess I'll sacrifice one of these to thin the deck. I guess my best draw, yeah, I was gonna say my best draw is probably something like a Stinkweed Imp that maybe I get to Scrapwork Mutt and do something cool with. Another Writhing Chrysalis, eh? I mean, don't mind if I do. This Leyline Weaver is pretty good with Chrysalis. So, how much is this? 7, it's 16 damage. 16, not enough. So I don't think there's anything that I can do, right? That's 9, 7. Oh no, it is. It's more than that. Way more than that. Okay. Well, I think opponent has to tap one of my Chrysalises if they want to survive, but they probably have like a Reach Through Mists or a Peer Through Depths. There's the Peer, and they have double puppetry. Yikes. They find Ideas Unbound. I guess I'll hit for some. So, again, we are well and goodly dead. Well and goodly, that's words that are coming out of my mouth. But I am gonna bring this back in case it's relevant. But if my opponent's not able to kill us on turn 6 after cantripping for like 4 turns and tutoring up a High Tide, I don't know what to tell them. Yep, there's the High Tide, there's the Peer. I'm gonna give you like highlights of what's going on for a bit. They have a Disrupt. Okay, good to know about Disrupt. There's the Ideas Unbound. And then if they show me a second Ideas Unbound, I'll happily concede. Okay. All right. Let's get out of here. I'm going to value my time. So now I guess we get to try out all this weird stuff that the deck supposedly can do. Right. Fairy Macabre, Coffin Purge. Not to the Bone gets out. Chrysalis doesn't seem great either. Acorn Harvest doesn't seem great. I just want to be fast. Maybe this is too much graveyard hate. Yeah, actually I don't think Coffin Purge is good. I'll bring in a Molten Gatekeeper over it. But yeah, we're looking for like Red Blasts and Last Rites. Fairy Macabre is just like a thing that if I have in hand, sometimes I get to punk my opponent. I would like to be on the play. I don't think this is a hand that I get to keep. I'm not faster than my opponent by any stretch of the imagination. So on 5, I guess I am forced to keep this. Get rid of a Mutt. Get rid of a Generosant. And Mountain Pass. I will take the Black Land. There's a Wayfinder. That's a card that does something, even though it doesn't do it very well. I do think that I'm just going to play the Leyline Weaver, though. The Weaver lets me double spell next turn. And, of course, I'm still looking for like a Last Rites or a Red Blast or something that plays. Okay. So they brainstorm. Is Wayfinder better than Rumble? I honestly don't know. I think not. There's a Manor Gate. Okay. So I don't get to double spell, in which case I am just playing the Geothermal Bog and attacking for 2. At least now I am live to draw almost anything. Last Rites, Fairy Macabre, Red Blast. All of those cards are great. Plays a land and passes the turn. I will actually play that, I think. Yeah, it's a decent beater. Lets me redraw. Guess I'll get rid of this Wayfinder. Okay. Am I trying to play another one? I think now's about the time where I should rumble and try to find something to do. Yep. Yes, it's Fairy Macabre. Black. So the Fairy Macabre does something. It's not a lot, but it's something. And I do have a Stinkweed in the graveyard now to let me try and go faster. Oh, we're going. Okay. 2 High Tides. Ideas Unbound. Sure. Oh, that's nice. They cast an Ideas Unbound and found 2 Psychic Puppetries. Another one. Okay, so already 3 Ideas Unbound. Another High Tide. Pieces of the puzzle. Okay, so all of their Ideas Unbound have been cast. There's the last High Tide. Are they just going to try and brute force it? I guess, right? Because each island is 5, so that's 34 mana already. Oh yeah, if they have the thing in hand, they just get to Psychic Puppetry a bunch. Yeah, they don't even care about the graveyard. Okay, so after a bunch of cantripping and tapping, our opponent found their other stream of thought, and we are dead. So we ended up with a 2-3 record. But again, I do think we got paired against some of our worst matchups again. High Tide and Elves, always extremely bad. Familiars, not a good matchup either. We won against Coggates. So I do think the deck has merit, but honestly, I don't know. My problem is the same as it was before. I just think that the metagame is just so bad for Dredge right now. The decks that you normally want to play against have graveyard hate for you, and the decks that you don't want to play against are just faster than you. So I hope you enjoyed this week. I am probably going to be playing a list like this at my event, and I'll let you know as it's happening. I have launched a Instagram and TikTok and whatnot to put some of my content there as well. So if you want to continue following me and learning more about things like this, by all means, be my guest. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you stay well. I hope you take care of yourself and have an amazing day. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, leave me a comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.